We are at the Nebraska Soybean Management Field Days outside of Orr. Joining us now is UNL plant pathologist Dr. Loren Giesler. One of the topics you're talking about is looking at early season and some of those stresses. So, what are you sharing with farmers?
Well, what we're sharing mainly is kind of that overview of seedling diseases, but then we've looked a lot at seed treatments over the past several years and really comparing those inputs and then what is profitable. We also talk a little bit about populations. We still have a lot of farmers out there, Ken, that are planting a lot more seed than they need to.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, with the economy of scale, in a sense, and with the input costs that there are, they can see some efficiency instead of maybe just doing it as things evolve, year over year.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the thing that we emphasize too, really important to make sure you know if you have a stand problem, if you have a seedling disease problem, that you identify it correctly, looking at that history, and then as people are looking at populations, if they start looking at reducing those populations, possibly, that in that situation, you really want to make sure you know what you're going into, because you don't want to cut back that population significantly and then not know that you had a stand problem, and that's where seed treatment fungicides become really important.
Are part of this issue because we've planting earlier, or are we seeing some of that?
Oh, absolutely, and I think really just with all the stochasticity in the environment we've seen over the last several years, it's not as much even early as it is what's the soil temperature is what I talk about more now, because early planting, it could be the first week of May and that soil could be 60 degrees, or the first week of May and that soil could be 50 degrees, and so that's where, if you're going into cool soils, that's where we really recommend that seed treatment fungicide.
So really the bottom line is this is to know your soils before you get that planter going.
Well, that's the best thing. Or if you're going into that unknown, give yourself protection. And when we look at our studies over the years, really that fungicide part is what's returning when they have a problem. Unless they know they're going into an insect issue of some sort, which is fairly rare, it's really that seed treatment fungicide that's important. And that's what we see most profitable over the years.
And another issue we always like to talk with you about at this event is, soybeans looking good, looks like another good crop, but this late season, are there some things that farmers are showing concerns for you, or do you have some concerns out there of some of these fields?
Well, and I think the biggest thing right now, this is the time of year, it's kind of that stem and root rot time of year, so it's a good time to look. If you're seeing sudden death syndrome, if you're seeing phytophthora stem and root rot, brown stem rot, any of those, and even across the state now we're starting to see more frog eye showing up. So if you're seeing these things, kind of keep record, keep track of them. You can't do anything right now except for frog eye. If could spray if it was severe. But the reality is just keeping records and then checking those varieties. That's your number one defense. And then that in combination with some seed treatments, depending on what it is.
All right, Loren, always great to catch up with you. Thanks.
You too, Ken. Thanks.
Dr. Loren Giesler, UNL plant pathologist, has joined us outside of Orr, the soybean field. For Agview, I'm Ken Rogers.